Let's say you have $400 to spend. We've covered mid-rangers in the past, but we're seeing more flagship-grade specs slide into phones at cheaper prices. OnePlus built their reputation on making inexpensive phones. Apple now has a new phone purpose-built for the mid-range, and for good measure, we're looking at a phone which used to cost $400 last year. Okay, it still lists for $400, but it doesn't take much savvy shopping to find it cheaper online. Looking at design, the Nexus is the odd duck here. This plastic shell is fairly dull, and it feels a bit cheap in the hand. Now, Apple tries to slip one by us, as the iPhone 5S was truly a gorgeously designed phone. So gorgeous that the SE is a virtually identical device, which can largely use the same cases as the older 5S. Now, the OnePlus 3 has fairly been accused of drawing more than a little inspiration from Huawei and HTC, but it does represent the most significant manufacturer evolution of the three. Moving to the screens, display tech is a tricky comparison for Apple here. They would win an award for best one-thumb ability, were my stumpy thumbs delivering such an award, but alas they are not. It's a practical screen with very good brightness and decent pixel density, but no one's going to be impressed by a sub 720p display today. OnePlus moved over to an AMOLED panel this year, which we would normally celebrate, but this pentile display looks softer than the LCD on the Nexus, so we'll give the win to the 5X. Talking about storage. Alright, sorry, Apple. Yeah, no, 16 gigs, not great. The Nexus fares better here, but since none of these phones have SD card expansion, the OnePlus crushes this category. Now, fingerprint sensors are also something of a toss-up. The iPhone's home button is easy to reach, but we're kind of spoiled by always-on scanners. On a personal note, I prefer rear-mounted sensors, which are easier for my tiny hobbit hands to reach, so the 5X wins here, and you can drop angry comments below this video. Listening to audio kit, the Nexus is compromised. One area LG likely coasted through to keep the price low. Apple and OnePlus battle really well here though. The OnePlus is just nipping at the SE's heels for amp output, and they compare very well for dynamic range and noise floor. The iPhone downsamples high-resolution audio, but otherwise it just barely edges out the OnePlus 3. Super close fights are a lot more fun. Camera tech is an interesting battle too. Apple delivers maybe the most well-rounded platform for photos and videos. Super consistent processing for photos, high-quality UHD and 60 frame per second 1080p video, and great fun features like HDR processing, slow-motion video, and panorama stitching. The Nexus gets us really close to the SE, though the video could benefit from better image stabilization. Funnily, both the iPhone and the Nexus deliver mono audio for video, and that's funny like what a bummer, not funny like haha. The OnePlus 3 has both optical image stabilization and stereo audio recording, and yet it delivers the shakiest footage and the poorest audio of the three. Still photos are more competitive, but the third OnePlus comes in third for this part of the comparison. And I'm no fan of selfies, but the iPhone SE front shooter is pretty lame. When it comes to software, we're going to call support for the Nexus and the iPhone a tie, as both phones are currently running developer previews. The OnePlus 3 might be near stock, but it's still not full stock, so it'll probably lag a bit behind Nexus devices. The iPhone also wins for battery, though it has the smallest capacity of the bunch. The smaller, lower resolution screen helped this puppy sip juice. Running our media test, streaming 30 minutes of video over Wi-Fi at 50% brightness, the SE drained 3%, the OnePlus drained 5%, and the Nexus drained 9%. That Qualcomm 808 isn't doing Google any favors for runtime. All three phones have reversible cables, and all three phones can use NFC-based mobile payment systems. So let's wrap this up. Our delivery might be a little tongue-in-cheek, but these are fun comparisons to produce, so why not have a little fun producing them? These three phones have pretty entrenched fan bases, and it's probably uncommon that someone shopping an iPhone is going to go, hey, look at this rad Chinese phone, and just switch teams like that. It's less about outright winners and losers, and more about watching prices plummet on really solid hardware. $400 buys a lot of phone these days, and phones at this price tier don't feel as compromised as they might have a couple years ago. We're also happy to see the Nexus 5X holding its own. There were some concerns at launch about the lower power processor, but it's hanging in there just fine. It still represents a killer deal when you see you can score one for around $300 with a little shopping. We're feeling the good feels on this one, folks, so let's leave this off with a little kumbaya, since all is good in mid-range smartphone land. As always, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to this channel for more fun comparisons and hit that thumbs up button for a little extra positive reinforcement. For Pocketnow, I'm Juan Carlos Bagnell, some gadget guy on Twitter and Instagram, and I will catch you all on the next video. Okay, if you twist my arm, the OnePlus 3 wins. Jeez, get all cranky about it, why don't you?
Oh, I need winners for all of my comparison videos. Meh.